Matt Binder had this like really bafflingly stupid tweet. People are saying the Mario movie isn't woke, and yet it featured a character in drag. Conservatives don't even know what they're complaining about.
Look, if I dress up to help Sitch with his marriage proposal, for like, how is that, LGBT representation?
Yeah, well, yes and no.
Hmm.
Let me be clear before someone clips you out of context.
So,
Yes.
word on the street is Super Mario Brothers is woke as.
That's not the word on the street.
Oh yeah, you're right. The word on the street is Super Mario Brothers is not woke.
The word on the street was Mario Bros was going to be woke, and then the word on the street was it wasn't woke, and this success is a trophy for anti-wokeness.
Right. But I
Right.
do. There was a little tiny bit of wokeness
Okay,
in it.
so how about this is how we structure the conversation. Let's first
Mhm.
tell me whether you liked the movie or not, and what you liked about it, and then we'll talk about whether it was woke or not. How about that?
Okay, I did like the movie.
Hmm.
It's not an epic movie that I'm going to tell all my friends to see and that I'm probably going to see a second time. Like I didn't think it was Into the Spider-Verse good. If I
Hmm.
saw it, if it was playing on Netflix again, I probably wouldn't watch it. But I thought I was entertained the entire time I was in the movie theater. I was keenly aware, looking for those woke moment scenes. And I thought that there were just a couple of places that were woke. I saw people talking about it online where they were saying one scene was woke that I thought was decidedly not woke, and I didn't even think to think, oh wow, this is like a representation scene. So
Only bad actors who are either stupid or intentionally lying thought that. And we'll talk
right,
about that because I know
yeah,
what you're
yeah,
talking about. Yeah.
yeah. So, but I did. There was I had an interesting experience as someone who's a bit older than most people. And like you are fond of saying, I was a little girl crazy in college. Okay. So when a lot of these
Hmm.
video games came out, I was playing a different game.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that you were sympathetic with Bowser because he was entirely motivated by
First of all,
marrying
Bowser
Princess Peach.
is my new favorite character. Like I'd have to admit I did like Bowser. Bowser had a good storyline. The jokes with Bowser so hit. Like there was a bunch of jokes where it was obviously he was interested in Princess Peach, and he was worried that Mario might be a competitive suitor for him. So I thought all those jokes were very very funny. But I like I said when I was in college, like I was out chasing girls. I wasn't playing a lot of these video games that were popular when I was in college. And you guys were all kids and playing them like every day. So when a lot of the like I realized that there was a lot of game references going on that it's the whole movie it's delicious eye candy anyway. So even though I wasn't getting the references, I
Hmm.
understood those were probably really entertaining for a lot of people.
Right.
And then they got to Donkey Kong, which is a game that I was, came out when I was a kid. I was obsessed with. I played all the time. Me and my friends wasted all our money on this game. So I did have a bit of that nostalgia when Donkey Kong came
And he
out.
started throwing barrels at Mario. You were like,
Yes, when
yes.
he threw the barrels, I was like, "Oh my god, it's my childhood." So I totally
That's
got
hilarious.
it, and I wasn't I felt that I wasn't going to have that, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I am going to have that a bit here.
Hmm.
Even when they did the big fight in the what do you call it, the gladiatorial arena, the
On the Donkey
Coliseum, yeah,
Kong red
they even put like
pillar.
kind of Donkey Kong aesthetic in that scene, and
Yes.
I mean, it was great. So I'm
They're
assuming a
fighting on
lot of
the
people,
steel griters, whatever
yes,
the
yeah.
fucking word is. I
So
can't
I'm
remember
assuming
that.
a lot of people had that same kind of feeling that I had on those scenes throughout the entire movie, and for those people,
Yes.
obviously, I thought it was a win. So,
Right.
the plot was a little bit basic. I thought it could have been better. There's like these two very disjointed
Did you want to
areas.
explain the plot very briefly for those that haven't seen it?
Sure. Okay. So it begins basically with Mario and Luigi are plumbers. You know, they're starting a plumbing business. It's very real world. And then, you know, various difficulties there. You know, they're, you know, the average everyman kind of disrespected by the community. So there's room for a character arc. Then there's a giant jump from the first act, which I would describe that as the first act, to the second act, where Mario gets sucked into.
Well, before we move on, I just want to say the beginning
Mhm.
was kind of very strange to me,
Yeah, no, I completely agree. That's
right?
why
Because
I.
you have Mario not only see it in the real world, but it's like he has a family, and the family thinks that Mario and Luigi are like losers for trying to start their own plumbing business.
Right, yeah, no.
And and then there's a very weird sequence where they try to fix like these rich people's bathroom, and their dog is like attacking Mario and Luigi.
Hmm.
And it's like this whole thing, and it's like, I don't know, it's just very not what I would have. I never expected a scene from a Mario movie where a dog is preventing them from fixing a sink for like 5 minutes.
Yes.
Like,
And
I don't know,
that.
it was very weird. I was like, what is it? And I thought maybe the joke reference is supposed to be because, like, they fight Bowser, and Bowser is typically a name you associate with a dog or something. I don't know if that was the
Mhm.
thought process behind that, but
The real world stuff I thought was
they're done without.
very unnecessary and
Yes.
wasn't like an efficient use of screen time in any way, shape, or form. If I was rewriting the script, I would probably try to make there be some physical connection between Mario and the princess, so there could be like a more meaningful resolution if they were, you know, potentially even family members, or you know, one at one time romantically involved, something like that, so that there was something more there than there actually is in the
Right.
movie. So,
Right. There,
but
there was, well, and I'll talk about it. I want you to get back to the plot and I won't interrupt, but there's one element to that was very strange to me.
mhm.
The Mario and Luigi's proportions only work when you don't see them next to normal looking people.
Oh, of course, yeah,
As soon as you see them with like no, first, it's like
they look
everyone
like
has to either
small
have
fries.
Mario. Yeah, it's super weird. Like either everyone has to have Mario and Luigi body proportions that are human, or like don't. Because then when you put them next to other people, they look fucking bizarre as shit. You're like, what is up with these people's bodies?
Yeah. Well, I think that kind of plays on the video game aesthetic. That
Yeah,
didn't
but you're
bother
saying
me
make
as
them
much,
all.
but
Why don't you just have them all have those proportions? I don't
yeah,
like. There's one scene in the early in the movie where they take their gloves off and their hands look monstrous.
right.
And I was like, what the fuck's going on? Why do I never notice they have fucking creepy hands before? And I'm like, oh, because it looks fine with the glove, but without the glove, it looks super weird.
I
Anyway,
mean, they did. I thought they made they did a decent job of. I mean, the it seemed like they were trying to stick to lore, and Princess has much different proportions in the video game. So
yeah, I guess sort of. I mean, she just looks kind of like a. I feel like she has the same proportions. She's just taller, which is
yeah,
fine. But I feel like her proportionally, her body is kind of the same as Mario's.
okay,
At least in the movie, it was. I felt, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to seeing the difference in proportions between them, and I'm not used to seeing Mario standing next to like his father. So maybe
right.
that's just it.
Yeah, yeah. It's weird. It's obvious, like Mario was not is an illegitimate son or something, because obviously he has his proportions are so different than his mom and dad. It's
Right.
like maybe he's adopted or
Well, they
something.
have like the same, like his father looks like Mario, but he looks like if Mario was like
A
real,
real
I
a
guess,
human being, yeah.
or a
No, I'm
more
the
real
real
human being.
look,
Yeah.
the real world stuff I thought, really didn't work for me, and
Yeah.
the thing that the saving grace about it is that it's short. It's a very short
Yes.
first
Yeah.
act. They there's some catastrophe going on in Brooklyn, and they're going to go save Brooklyn from like a plumbing disaster. Mario gets sucked into another dimension through one of the pipes that we all recognize from the video games. And then the plot becomes Bowser is basically trying to take over this Nintendo universe, and uh, Mario has to save everyone
Well,
from
okay, so
this
wait. So
this looming
right.
catastrophe.
So when they go through the pipe, Luigi and Mario get separated. Luigi gets captured
Yes. Yeah.
and brought to Bowser, and Mario gets sent to the Mushroom Kingdom. So he has to team up with Princess Peach to save his brother. Peach has been informed that Bowser has the superstar,
Hmm.
which is really just an invulnerability star. I thought it was going to be something different, but and he was going to use this to destroy the Mushroom Kingdom along with the giant bullet bill unless Princess Peach marries him. And then so Princess Peach is like, okay, well, we need to get help from the Donkey Kong army to help us fight Bowser.
Right.
And so kind of the plot is, going through them on their adventure to team up with the DK crew in order to fight Bowser before he destroys the
Right.
Mushroom Kingdom
And
and
Donkey
saves
Kong
Luigi.
becomes like one of the very likable characters. I mean, Bowser is very likable, even though he's hypothetically the bad guy. I mean, I thought the characters were very interesting, and I mean, it had me entertained. I wasn't waiting to leave the movie
Right.
theater, which is basically all that I worry about now with modern movies, is that I'm going to be like, why am I watching this? I
Yes.
should really leave. Yeah.
Well, let me just say, I'm aware of New Donk City, even though I've never played Mario Odyssey. I am
Hmm.
aware of New Donk City. I've seen videos of it, and it to me when I would see Mario like interacting with like normal looking people, it was very disquieting and strange. And I thought in that game it was a very strange artistic choice to do that in the first place. So,
So, what are all the games that I might have missed? There's obviously, I think, like Mario Kart is one of the
right.
games, right?
I mean, the main games are just Mario and Mario Kart and Donkey Kong, I guess.
Okay.
I think.
But Super
I don't
Mario
know.
Brothers was a game as well, right?
Well, I mean, there's a million Mario games, but I mean, in terms of like understanding the plot, being,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm
you
just
don't really
talking
need to
for
know,
like the
right?
nostalgia berries.
I mean, the Mario Kart's probably the big one. They have a whole very I'm sure you all seen the trailer. There's a very large kind of
Hmm.
forced into the movie Mario Kart sequence.
Of course, but it's a action packed sequence and it's a lot of
Yeah, it wasn't
fun.
a bad
Yeah.
sequence. I was fine with it. They even
What's
have
this?
the blue
Yep.
turtle shell, which I don't know if you ever played Mario Kart, Adam. The blue turtle shell will chase and hit whoever's in first place, and that was the whole reference between the blue turtle shell going specifically after Mario.
My wife got that reference, but I didn't. Yeah.
There was a missed joke there that I'm kind of shocked they missed, where the blue turtle guy's like chasing after Mario, and he keeps shouting like Mario, I'm gonna get you. And Mario at this point, Mario should be like, who the fuck is this guy? How does he know my name, and why is he coming after me?
Right. Yeah. No,
Like I
that
was
would be
really thought he
good.
was gonna be like, why is everyone like, how does everyone know my name? Like, who the fuck is this guy? There's just randomly like, why am I being targeted by this fucking crazy person?
That would be good. Yeah.
Right.
What? Who's the blue star in the prison? That character was amazing.
Oh, I don't know. That might be they're like star people in the newer Mario games I haven't played. Maybe someone in the chat knows.
So
There's
there's
like
a
little
prison. There's a prison that more and more people. It's Bowser's prison basically, and more
yes.
people end up there. But there's like this blue floating star that has the voice of a child, but talks like the biggest doomer in the world. So it's so hilarious
That was
because
the best character in the movie. That is true.
yeah, no, it's a hilarious character.
And he and
So
he sang things that are very like the blue star is Luma from Mario Galaxy. Okay. He sang, I mean, I'm assuming in Mario Galaxy, does Luma have that personality where he basically says all the most like, the life is meaningless.
mhm.
We will all like crumble into dust in
Yes,
time.
totally. Oh god, it's so funny. I laughed
Right.
so hard at that character. And then Bowser was also hilarious because like Bowser single-mindedly focused on getting the princess to marry him, which is obviously a great and interesting motivation. And it's played by Jack Black, and Jack Black is just hilarious.
Mhm.
So there's the summary of the movie. Do you? I mean, what's your take?
So I kind of there's things about the movie I liked and there's things I didn't like. I didn't like the introduction part. I don't like really any of the real world
The
stuff.
first act, yeah,
Yeah, I didn't really like the first act. Um, it's a decent. I kind of feel how you felt. I watched it and I enjoyed it. Once they got out of the real world, I enjoyed watching it. But I don't know if I'd ever watch it again. Like I don't know if
Yeah.
I'd care. It's not like Into the Spider-Verse, or even Puss in Boots. I feel like I'd watch that again at some
Oh
point.
yeah, yeah.
Um, it was, it had very good action sequences. It was very well animated. I really liked all the Mario music. I wasn't too much on the non-Mario music. There's some very obvious, like very, very memorable. No, not memorable. There's a lot of music choices that you go, oh, it's that song that everyone like knows, right?
Hmm.
Like in the beginning of the movie, they play the Kill Bill music. Dun 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 dun
Oh
dun dun
yeah,
dun
yeah.
dun dun. When like the penguins are gonna attack Bowser. I know it's done for comedic effect, but there's like choices of music that I'm like, eh. I really like the Mario music. I'm not so sure about like the non-Mario music. Um, it looked very beautiful. If you just want to see Mario do Mario shit, you will really like this movie. The action sequences were really fantastic. I think my favorite action sequence was when Mario and DK are like running up that thing to get to the princess. Looked really
Hmm.
good. So I'm a big fan of the action sequences. Um, I think a lot of kids will really like the movie. My chief complaint with it, though, is it feels very shallow. It feels like there could have been a lot more going on. Um, and they kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of mixed because on one hand, my feeling is whenever Hollywood adapts a property that exists, especially like a video game property, my expectation is going to be in the toilet, right? My
Of
expectation is going to
course.
be like,
Yes.
yes, it's going to be so low. So it's like if Hollywood can produce something that's not dog shit, I'm already like, oh my God,
Yes. Totally.
good job, right? So I'm already like kind of in that realm of like, well, the fact that it's not dog shit is making me like applaud.
Yeah.
So I don't want to like be too hard on it because it is a decent movie. And the fact that it's not terrible, in my opinion, is already like light years beyond most movies that come out. But it just there was this weird thing that happened that I noticed, which was there's a moment in the movie where Mario and Donkey Kong are swallowed by a fish.
Oh
Do you
yeah.
remember this?
Yes, totally.
And they're kind of having an argument inside the fish. Because so if you haven't seen the movie, Donkey Kong and Mario, it's kind of like Donkey Kong and Mario are supposed to be like they don't like each other, but then they like each other towards the end of the movie,
Right.
kind of character dynamic.
Yeah, it's basically Step Brothers.
It's basically every
they're
buddy movie that's ever existed, right?
they're enemies
Um,
until they're not. And then they're
right.
friends. Then they're
Yeah,
frenemies.
right. And it's weird because that scene to me was really weird when I watched it because Donkey Kong, who by the way, I like everyone in the movie except for what's his name? Seth
Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen. I don't
He
like him as
doesn't
the voice of Donkey Kong.
he yeah, it's that's unfortunate. Yeah.
I like the character and I like what the character was supposed to be. I don't think
His performance was
his
awful.
performance
Yeah.
doesn't match that character.
Yes.
It was a weird choice. Everyone else did good in terms of the voicing, but I didn't like Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong.
Danny
But
McBride would have been like way better.
that would have been an interesting choice.
Cuz he plays that, uh super confident person pretty well. Yeah.
Right, right. But they're inside this fish and they're kind of having this argument, and Donkey Kong's kind of saying all these kind of like funny lines to insult Mario. And in a normal movie, you'd expect it to be like Donkey Kong saying funny lines to insult Mario, Mario saying funny lines to insult Donkey Kong back, right? But it's
Mhm.
all one-sided. It's just Donkey Kong insulting Mario and Mario just kind of being neutral and being like, "Oh, stop bothering me. Go over there." Like he's not like fighting back in a funny way.
Yeah.
And I kind of noticed throughout the whole movie, I feel like Mario has a very like non-existent character.
He's a doormat.
He's not really a doormat because he's doing shit. He's like, he's very capable. And he's like, there's a whole sequence where he's running the obstacle course and he doesn't give up. So he's not like a doormat, but it's just he just feels like the way I would describe it is, how Disney is very protective of Disney characters, Mickey Mouse, Donald, and Goofy. Like if you're going to use a Disney character, Disney has to a-okay like everything because you're fucking with like their,
Sure.
mascot.
All their lore is on the line.
Right. And I wonder, and I don't know if this is true, but I wonder if the same thing happened with Nintendo with Mario, like being strict about what kind of
He couldn't be unlikable.
yeah, like what kind of
Hmm.
personality traits that Mario could have. Like I don't know because Donkey Kong, of course, was very different than I've seen any interaction with Donkey Kong. But maybe they don't give a shit about Donkey Kong. But Mario just seemed like they were afraid to give him a personality, like a strong personality.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. They were saying in early drafts of a Toy Story, Woody came off as super unlikable. So sometimes it's difficult to walk that line. But I know exactly
Interesting,
what you're
right?
saying. Yeah,
Yeah, because I felt like
because he
there
could be
was
insulting him. It could come off as like he's just being a dick if the performance is wrong.
yeah, if but I mean it's Chris Pratt.
Yeah, Chris Pratt can totally pull that off, though. I was thinking, yeah,
Yeah,
that's his bread and butter.
that is that, and that's why I wonder because that's literally Chris Pratt's exactly as you said. That's the character he plays in almost every movie. He's
Yeah,
kind of like the likable, smarmy, sarcastic guy. And I
right.
really wonder if that was originally how the character was supposed to
And
be,
they
because it
dialed
kind
it
of,
back.
and then they
Oh
dialed it back,
man,
and I think they dialed it back too much. So
that
now he
could
doesn't
be
really
it.
have a personality. That'd be my guess. So I kind of didn't like that, and I didn't like, and it's funny because people are gonna be like, "Oh, it's a Mario movie, whatever." Mario doesn't really have a character in video games, fair enough, but it is a movie, and there does need to be a character.
But this is the opportunity to make Mario the next Iron Man. Why wouldn't you do that?
Right, exactly. Um, that's a good point. That is a good point. That's the way you should conceptualize it.
Yeah.
Um, but so they kind of give Mario an arc, but I think it's a stupid arc. And the arc is in the beginning of the movie, his family doesn't
Respect
believe
him. Yeah.
respect him, right? His family doesn't respect him, and his family doesn't think he can amount to anything in his life.
Right.
And then at the end, through some like actually something that he does, which is insanely stupid and made no sense,
Totally.
except to force the ending. He fights
Yeah.
Bowser in the Brooklyn, back in the real world, so that everyone, including his family, can witness him defeat Bowser and save the day, right?
It's so idiotic. Yeah.
Yes. It's very dumb. I mean, Mario basically 9/11's Brooklyn, and everyone's okay with it. It's like, but
Poor Sitch. He can't enjoy an action scene without thinking about, oh, real people are dying. If that would have taken place though in the Mushroom Kingdom, it wouldn't have been as bad, right? They're just mushroom people.
well, no, because there's a difference between destruction being caused by like you don't have control over it
Right.
versus you basically directly causing
Right.
the
Yeah, no. I
destruction,
get it.
to a different area, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want to get too far in spoilers.
I mean,
But
we kind of
essentially,
already have spoiled
I
the
know, but I
movie,
don't want to
so.
say like every single thing that happens in the movie. Essentially, to me, I think what would have been better would have been if the arc wasn't about Mario proving himself to his family, which, first of all, I mean, I know it's Mario. Mario doesn't really have an arc, so you can kind of do whatever you want. But I don't know. I just felt like it should have been an internal arc. Like you could have Mario and Luigi having their failing plumbing business or whatever in the beginning of the movie. But I don't think Mario's arc should be he has to prove himself to his father figure. Like to me, that's I don't know. That's
He looks like he's 40 years old. It's so stupid because it's
yeah,
like,
he's
what's
kind of
going on?
exactly. That's a good point. He's kind
You're
of
the
too old for
ultimate
that.
loser
Right.
if you're 40 and you're worried about your dad's approval. I mean,
Yeah. Right. Like I would have been much better, I think, if his arc was more about, him and his brother just, they're wondering where their life is going, right?
yeah,
They don't
sure. His own
it,
personal goals.
his own personal goal. And also
Yeah.
that would make it easier for him to completely detach himself from ever going back to Brooklyn. Because what if he has not like they should have like in my mind, they should have set up so that there's nothing there for them in Brooklyn. So that when they
Yeah,
go to
so
the
he
Mushroom Kingdom,
stays. Yeah.
they stay and they're fine never going back to the real world
Yeah.
or to
No,
Brooklyn or
that would
whatever.
have been great.
Um, and that the arc should have been to have his character have some kind of character arc that he's working towards, so that like accomplishing the goal of defeating Bowser accomplishes whatever the character arc is for Mario.
Yeah.
That doesn't really exist in the movie.
Nope.
He's
Yeah.
not really motivate, and even his whole like he wants to prove himself to his parents. That's not really the motivation for anything that happens in the movie. It just kind of happens,
Yeah,
right?
it's totally tacked on. It's like they got to the end of writing the movie and they said, "Oh, we forgot the character arc. Oh,
Yeah,
here, let's just write it in real quick here. I'll
right.
change a couple lines with the parents here."
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it is, yeah. like like you laid it out perfectly in just that in modern movies, you're like the bar is so low now that
Yeah, exactly.
just that you didn't want to walk out of the movie theater. It's like, yes, it was a successful
That's it.
movie.
But that was my feeling when I'm watching this movie. I'm like, well, I don't hate this, so that's a good thing. But that was like
Right.
my thought process, like 90% of
But
the
it's
movie. I'm
not
like,
like Fight Club where you're ready to
no,
stand up and cheer when you see the
right,
buildings collapse. You're
right.
not
Yeah, like while I'm watching it, I enjoyed the movie. I watched it and I
right.
enjoyed it, but it wasn't. It's not going to be something that I ever come back to in my mind space.
Mhm.
It's not going to be a pick like it's not Toy Story. It's not Monsters Inc. It's nothing I'm gonna, as you said. I think you had it perfectly. If I ever see it on Netflix, I don't think I'd ever watch it again, really,
Right.
unless I had a kid that wanted to watch it with me or something.
Right.
It's like,
And then
Daddy, I want
you'd
to watch
go, no,
Mario.
no, let's put on Into the Spider-Verse.
Right? Yeah, just it needed on one. I'm conflicted because on one hand, I feel like Mario needed more to elevate it to that level of like this is a very good movie. But on the other hand, as you said, I'm just so happy it wasn't awful.
Yeah, people seem to like it, and I don't want to disparage that because
Yes,
there's so little entertainment now that people can like. So,
in the realm of movies,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, in the realm of movies and not woke movies. So,
Or like if you just want to see an action movie where Mario does Mario shit, it's really good.
and the
Yeah.
nostalgia shit. If you played these
Yes.
games, you're going to like it so much more, I think, because
Of course, right.
there's a lot of nostalgia in there. So, do you want to first of all, you said your favorite action sequence was the
Mario and
fight
DK
towards the
running
end.
up the hill to get to the Bowser ship.
I thought the action sequence for with the "Take on Me" song was like just because I really like that song "Take on Me" when they uh one of the Donkey Kong ish type characters is
That's
driving him to
hilarious.
see. Oh God, it's so funny. It's so hilarious to
It's
me.
funny because
I laughed through that whole scene.
that was one of my complaints. Maybe, and this is where I guess the personal choice comes in. One of my complaints was a lot of the modern music.
Right, you
I
didn't
liked
like
the
it.
Tank on Me song, but it felt very out of place in the movie
Right,
in that sequence. And yeah, there's a sequence where
but it
I
is
don't know if it was
action packed. Yeah,
it is, I guess. I don't know if it was supposed to be Funky Kong or someone that looks kind of like Funky Kong, drives. The DK world is basically Mario Kart all the time.
yeah,
He's
it's
like
awesome.
driving, Mario and Peach and Toad to see the king, who's Cranky Kong. And it's just like Take on Me is playing, and it's like this crazy driving sequence.
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you like car stuff. I don't really like car stuff, so that sequence was kind of like didn't do much for me.
when
But
the little mushroom came out in the giant Mario Kart, that was obviously
that was
hilarious.
very funny.
Yeah,
That was a funny joke. Yes.
with
See, that
with
was
his
something that was weird too.
sunglasses on, his aviators.
That was something that's weird. So in the movie, through like very ridiculous circumstances, they have to
But it's
essentially Mario Kart.
hilarious.
No, it's
Yeah,
fine. No, that's fine. But I'm saying they have to Mario Kart their way to save everyone. But there's something that kind of there's a very picky nibble, quibble, but they walk up to like choose their Mario Karts, and it's literally the fucking Mario Kart selection scene from like Mario Kart 8, where you have the little wheel where you choose the body and the wheel and everything. And I was just like, that's a little too much. It's a little too product integration to me to make it like literally the same like UI as Mario Kart 8 was a little too much.
I thought there. I think people would like that though. I think they're
Maybe.
probably
I
they
mean,
know their market.
right. I guess I did like that. Like there was a Kong person with sunglasses with like a cool chair who was making the Mario Karts for them.
Oh yeah,
And yeah, you're right. There's a very funny joke where Toad, they all roll out in their Mario in their carts, and Toad has like the very, blinged out gigantic ride. Like that was a good
yeah.
joke.
So you want to move on to like
So I guess we should talk about the woke element of
the
it.
woke or not woke? Yeah,
Yes, woke or
exactly.
not woke. Okay, so what were the parts that you thought were woke or not woke?
Okay, there is the rich black couple trope in the very beginning,
Mm.
which I thought was little wokish. There was obviously I cringed so hard when Peach told Mario that she had done this thing perfect on the first time. There's this huge obstacle course, and it takes Mario like 1,000 times to be able to get it right.
Yeah.
And there's a perfect opportunity for, he basically asks her, you know, well, you had to learn it too as well, and there's a perfect opportunity for them to bond, and her to say, yeah, of course, you know, everyone has to.
And she does say that, but then he's like, "Oh, you're just saying it to make me feel better." And she says, "Yes."
Right. So the implication is that she did it perfect her first time, which I think is
Right.
one, ridiculous.
Yes.
Two,
Well,
doesn't give them any kind of opportunity for bonding, which it's like the
yes.
perfect opportunity to bond. Yeah, of course I
Yes.
didn't get it right the first time.
Right.
Who could do that?
Right. No,
Yeah. And to make her seem human and not a girl boss.
yes. And
Yeah.
it's weird because they kind of walked it back subtly later in the movie where they show there's like one flash of her growing up and you see she's been doing obstacle courses like that her entire life.
Hmm.
So presumably by the time she did that one, it's not like it was the first time she'd ever done anything like that.
Hmm.
Um, but I agree with you. And I thought that was a really weird line because I actually liked, so the big point about the wokeness is Princess Peach, a girl boss, right? Um,
Right.
and they show her running through the obstacle course like perfectly, which I'm fine with her doing because whatever, she's been the princess of this place for a very long time. We presume she's done it a lot. And then when Mario does it, he keeps fucking up. But I was really glad because it's a sequence of him doing it and doing it and doing it until he essentially gets it right.
Yeah, it's a learning
It's
the world
yes,
sequence. Yeah.
it's a shonen anime character growth training sequence,
Right.
which is what a lot of girl boss characters always lack. Which, for some reason, Hollywood can't get through their thick skulls that if you want to have a likable, powerful female protagonist, you have to show them fail and then become stronger, like you do with any normal character in a story.
Yeah, of course.
And it was weird because yeah, she has that line. They have that line where she's like, "Oh, I didn't do it perfectly at first," and I'm like, "Oh, it's great," but then they immediately walk it back, and I thought that was such a bizarre inclusion to kind of undercut the moment for a cheap joke that wasn't really funny. And
Yeah, it wasn't a funny joke. It wasn't the time for it. It was just completely out of place.
yeah,
That is the biggest, like, that's the biggest woke thing right there. The
yeah, yeah, I
like
agree.
the other things I think, I mean, it's not bad. Like the black couple's not bad. The obligatory Mario is not allowed to save Peach in the end of the movie is I mean, it's not bad. It's just in the context of today,
Well,
it's like it's
well,
almost obvious. I
I
think
I
that's my
know
problem
exactly what
with
you
it.
mean. I
Yeah.
know exactly what you mean, right?
It's just first of all, movies are entertaining because it's like a constant surprise, 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 surprise. Set up, payoff. The payoff is supposed to be some sort of surprise, and when like, oh, it's just culturally insensitive for Mario to say Peach, you're like, okay, well, that can't happen, right?
Yeah, well, yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be clear before someone clips you out of context. We don't have a problem with black people being rich. Okay. It's just that when you have something like that, it feels like they did it for a virtue signal.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you were referring to
Well, it
before.
look.
Someone dishonestly clips you saying, "Oh my God, you think black people being rich is woke, Adam? You're a racist."
Well, I mean, we can talk about whether or not. Do you think it was? I mean, look, if they had done, let's say that they did uh, the couple was rich and white, but they were complete assholes. Would that be woke?
It could be.
Yeah, of course it would be woke.
This is the problem with sort of wokeness. You can have things in movies that could or could not be politically motivated that are perceived as being politically motivated because of the time that we live in,
Of
right?
course. Look, that's
Right.
like the whole point of that is to show you that black people can be rich.
And nice.
Yeah, and nice.
Because you're right. I feel like,
Well, how nice are they when they let their dog fuck with them like that? Like,
well,
what
they
the
don't know
fuck?
that the dog is evil.
Yeah.
And actually, it's interesting because I feel like in most movies, you have Mario and Luigi fix the rich couple's bathroom and they're like snooty rich assholes,
Hmm.
but you can't do that if they're black, right?
Of course you can. Yeah, but
So
it would have played as funnier if it was.
it would have played as funnier, yeah. So I
Yeah.
actually wonder if that maybe that
But
was a woke element of it.
hmm.
But going to Peach for a second. So I know exactly what you mean about like people were complaining. Mario doesn't save Peach. And when I first heard, before I saw the movie, I thought, well, I did not expect him to save Peach because it's the year 2023. And I
Hmm.
didn't think it was going to bother me that he doesn't. But when
Right.
I saw the movie, I actually thought it was pretty lame,
Yeah,
the
of
way that it
course.
happens, which is not having Bowser kidnap Peach. First of all, let's just talk about Peach as a girl boss, okay, in the first place. I'm totally fine with Peach not being the old-fashioned Mario 64 standard, I am a fucking useless character who does nothing and
Right.
gets kidnapped.
Yeah.
I'm totally fine with her not being that character. That character is insipid and awful, and no one gives a shit about that character.
Boring and predictable. Like we've moved past
Yes,
it. Yeah.
right, right. So making her a super competent leader that can kick ass, I'm totally fine with that, right? But what happens is, and yeah, you don't want her to get kidnapped in the beginning of the movie and spend the rest of the movie in a fucking cage like Luigi, essentially. But the part I have a problem with is there's a part in the movie where after she's been established as a kick-ass person, Bowser essentially, you know, approaches the Mushroom Kingdom and he basically gives Peach an ultimatum that he will either kill Toad and destroy the Mushroom Kingdom or she will marry him.
Hmm.
And so she agrees to marry him. And at that point, I think that's the point that Mario should actually save her
Yeah, it
at
would
that
be
point.
so much better emotionally. The protagonist would be 10 times cooler than he is now.
Yes, but also like the point of sort of like that choice is she's choosing to sacrifice her own happiness to marry Bowser to save her people, right? That
Yeah,
is the
that makes her a
decision,
better character.
right? That is the decision that's being made. So it doesn't make sense for her to have a secret plan
To
to
save
not marry
herself.
him,
Yeah.
right? That doesn't make any sense because that's the choice she made in the moment. And that's the choice like a ruler, a good ruler would make in that moment.
Yeah.
Um, and
It's
so,
Game of
but
Thrones shit.
exactly. So it doesn't really make sense from any character perspective or a story perspective for her to like, oh, I'm gonna trick Bowser and not marry him because like, well, then he's just gonna blow up the Mushroom Kingdom, right? What is your plan, Peach?
Yeah.
You thought you could just defeat him? I mean, maybe she thought she could just defeat him or something. I'm not sure. And there's like a really weird thing where at their wedding, he has all the people in the cages and he's gonna kill them all, drop them all in that lava. Why doesn't she just say, no, 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 no? As a wedding gift, you're not gonna do that.
Yeah, that would be
Right? I'm
much
not going to
better.
marry you if you kill these fucking people. That was the whole point of her marrying him in the first place.
Yeah. She would have
Um,
been a better character if she made that sacrifice.
right. And then the whole thing is supposed to be that Mario comes in as the hero and he has the third option. I can stop Bowser and you don't have to marry him, right?
Yeah.
And instead, what they do is because, and this part did really feel very like it's 2023. We can't have a man save a woman.
Yeah.
You know, she is basically given an ice flower by Toad, and she basically just, defeats Bowser essentially, and basically defeats everyone. And basically rescues herself, mostly rescues herself.
Yeah.
And so that Mario, has to come in and save his brother, but Mario and DK are kind of almost like extraneous to the saving situation in the first place.
Yeah, Luigi does nothing. They turn Luigi into the old-fashioned version of the princess that just gets
Yes, right.
saved. Yeah.
Which I don't really care about. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Not some big Luigi stan, so I don't care. But
Yeah, no. It's just like we both know it would be better if he saved Peach.
yeah, and that she can still fight,
Iron Man saves the girl.
right? But here's the thing: like, it's annoying because I feel like when they write these movies, like the woke mind virus has this very simplistic
Totally.
view of it. And I understand why. Because if Mario saves Peach from Bowser in the movie, you're gonna have 1,000 of these piece of shit, writers for all these garbage publications go, oh my God, it's the year 2023, and we still have a man saving a woman from marriage. Oh, this is Mario, so misogynist, more like super misogynist, brothers, right?
Yeah, that's exactly
You know,
right.
even though in proper screenwriting, I would argue Mario presents third option, saves Princess Peach from Bowser, and then they could all fight Bowser afterwards. She can participate in the fight, but she should just have to be presented with that third option, I think, by Mario.
Yeah.
And it would make him feel like he has a lot more impact on the story.
Yeah, yeah. It sucks. It just sucks. People are totally hemmed in by this ideology from writing a great story because so
Yes.
many options are taken off the table.
Yes.
So I think the one last thing to talk about is the the tweet going around. So Bowser is in love with Peach and he's practicing his proposal to Peach with one of his helpers. So he has his helper dressed up as Peach to kind of do the proposal thing. They're
Right.
kind of working out the proposal.
How he's going to propose to her. Yeah.
Right. And people online are saying, "Oh my God, this is trans representation. Look, it's a man in drag." And I'm just, I don't. How is this trans
Well, so
representation?
it's actually it's so it's worse than that. So Matt, so okay, so the whole narrative there's a rumor
Hmm.
that I've seen people make videos on, and I saw the person who originated it claim this, but obviously this hasn't been confirmed. The claim is that originally Hollywood wanted to make this movie significantly more woke.
Really? Okay.
Yes. In terms of making Mario like completely incompetent and a buffoon and making Peach like the star of the movie. And Nintendo basically said, fuck you, you can't do that.
Nice.
Right. That's the myth.
Okay.
I don't know if that's true or the rumor. I don't know if that's true,
Please
but
tell
that's
me
the
it's
claim.
true. Yeah.
Right. I
Nintendo's
mean,
like, not
it
with
could
our
be true.
characters.
Right. Could be true. I don't know. I would believe it's believable. It sounds believable. So maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. Um,
The
so you,
secondary character in all the video games becomes the protagonist.
right, right,
What a messed
right.
up thing to do.
So so you add that to the narrative, and then you also have the part that like, yeah, Peach is a girl boss, but you know what? She's still, I mean, it seems like she's still really into Mario throughout the whole movie. You know, she's like definitely seems like she has the hots for Mario in this movie.
It's
Um,
that is I don't even think that is played effectively because they kind of leave it unclear whether or not there's chemistry there or not, which I just
I
think is bad writing.
I not to my eyes, it seemed very clear that she was totally at the hots for Mario throughout the whole movie. She almost
Hmm.
falls in love with him at first sight. It seemed like
Oh, okay.
part of it is because he's the first other human she's ever seen,
Hmm.
right? Because she came into this place as a baby, so it's like
Right.
the first ever human. But so she definitely seems, and she's definitely like helping him, and she wants him to succeed. So even though she's a girl boss, she doesn't have like the kind of like anti-male woke attitude about her
Hmm. She kind
that
of treats him like her employee, though.
I completely disagree with you. I
Okay.
don't. That was not my impression. That was not my impression.
Hmm.
Like when she says to him, "Okay, if you can complete this obstacle course, you can come with me." And she gives him like basically infinite tries to do this fucking thing. It's not like, "Oh, you failed, fuck you," right?
Right.
Like
No,
she wants
I
to
get
see
it.
him succeed.
Right.
So
Hmm.
anyway, um,
They could have
okay, so
played it up a lot more, though.
I guess they could have. I guess they could have.
Like
But
she agrees to take a marriage proposal, and there's not even a conversation about, well, I thought maybe you'd think about marrying someone else.
well, it wasn't really there wasn't really time in the plot for that space for that
There's
to really
always time
happen.
for love,
Right.
Sitch.
Okay. Okay. But
Love is
no,
generally the
so
B
what I was gonna
story,
say
so there's
is
always time.
all right. So I was gonna say is so combined with the rumor about them wanting to make the movie more woke and Nintendo pushing back, combined with the fact that even though there's some woke elements to it, the movie overall is not. I wouldn't say the movie overall is not woke overall. So there's kind of a narrative that's sprung out of this saying, hey, look, here's a movie that's not woke and it's very successful. It's kind of seen as like a victory for the anti-woke and the culture war. It's kind of the narrative that's kind of bubbled up around this
Right.
to some extent. Um, and so Matt Binder had this like really bafflingly stupid tweet about this, where he said essentially, you know, people are saying the Mario movie isn't woke, and yet it featured a character in drag. Conservatives don't even know what they're complaining about, right?
But
Let me see if I
yeah.
can actually. Let me actually see if I
Well,
can bring
first
it
of all,
up.
conservatives are saying that the movie is not woke, so that doesn't
Yeah,
make a lot of sense.
right. And let me see if I can bring. I don't know. I'll look at Matt Binder's page because I don't know if he's one of those people that tweets like a million times. So if I can find it or not. But I
No, it's
remember.
okay. You don't need it. It's we understand.
Oh,
See,
here you go. I got it. It says, conservatives didn't actually watch the Super Mario Brothers movie because otherwise they'd be going bonkers over Bowser's right-hand man, dressing in drag. LMAO.
mhm.
Okay.
Why would they be going bonkers over that?
And it's so.
If I dress up to help Sitch with his marriage proposal like, how is that LGBT representation? It's
To
not.
me, I'm like, I couldn't tell. And first of all, this tweet has like 26,000 likes.
Oh,
Okay.
I know, it's crazy.
I can't tell if this is just a fucking troll or this is fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Is he honestly like not understand anything about drag at all or LGBT culture at all? And everyone who's liking it is just like engaging in this performative stupidity as lemmings, even though they know it's all stupid. Like, it's actually the fucking opposite. When Comic is dressing up as Princess Peach to help with Bowser's proposal, and it looks like they're gonna kiss, all the little kids are laughing. Okay.
Yeah.
The people are laughing, and the little kids are laughing because they go, here's an ugly old Koopa man dressed up as pretty Princess Peach, and he's gonna kiss Bowser. That's gross and weird.
Yep. Totally.
That's the joke. The joke is it's gross and weird. Okay.
It's
the joke is
it's the opposite of LGBT
yes.
representation.
The joke is the person in drag is gross and weird. That's the entire fucking joke of the scene. That's the entire fucking joke of the scene. And for Matt Binder and 26,000 people that are supposedly LGBT allies to think that conservatives have a problem with this is one of the dumbest fucking things I can even comprehend.
It's so true.
I was like, what the? Is he fucking for real? This is so stupid. This is so stupid.
Do they think the opposite of that? Because I'm laughing with those kids because that scene is hilarious.
That scene is hilarious. Yes.
But I wouldn't say I'm laughing because I hate LGBT people, obviously. I'm pro LGBT, so.
Right.
It's just a funny scene. It's funny that Bowser makes the guy dress up like, because I mean you could do it without dressing up.
Yes, but that's
in
the
drag.
Joke.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's the joke. And it's funny because there was someone that replied to this, an account on Twitter called The Left Can't Meme, and they said the joke is that a male character pretended to be a woman by dressing as a princess, and what you automatically thought that was LGBTQ plus representation.
Of course.
What a stupid moron you are. And then Matt responds to that by saying it's becoming increasingly clear that the right has no idea what drag is. Thus, they have no idea what they're even angry about. He's serious. It wasn't a troll. He seriously fucking thought that Comic dressing up in drag was positive drag representation in the fucking Mario movie.
Well, they often say that drag is not about LGBT representation. They're like, oh, it's just comedy. You guys are getting freaked out about nothing. That's basically what they're constantly saying.
I guess. Well, no, this is what he would say. This is what he'd probably say if we asked him about this. He'd say, well, no. When people dress up as drag, it's supposed to be, funny, right? They're over-exaggerating, drag queens, generally they over-exaggerate all these, female attributes or outfits or whatever for a comedic effect. I'm like, yes, sort of. But if you're watching, RuPaul's Drag Race, right? There's two things going on. First of all, there is some element of comedy to it, but you're supposed to be laughing with them. And they do think they look good.
Yeah. This is the opposite of that.
Right. No one, I'm assuming, I could be wrong, but I'm assuming fans of RuPaul's Drag Race do not watch RuPaul's Drag Race and go, ha, 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 look at these ugly men in dresses. I don't think that's where people find enjoyment from RuPaul's Drag Race. Okay.
No, of course not.
And when you have people at pride parades dressed up in drag, I don't think the joke is, ha, 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 look at all these ugly gay men in dresses. I don't think that's why they're dressed that way in pride parades. I'm just guessing, right? This is what was insane to me when we were listening on Sunday to Matt Binder and the people, the leftist mafia, talk about, these leftist things. I feel like they have no fucking clue any of the arguments that they're even making or exist in.
They don't.
Like they just have like a general leftist vibe. and they have no fucking clue about any underlying principles that they're arguing for.
No, it's just pattern recognition. They're like, guy in a dress. Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't understand that there's obviously a million different contexts for that, right?
Yes.
They don't understand the difference between, Tootsie and God, I'm spacing on the movie now. The movie with the transgender person. They don't know the difference.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Boys Don't Cry, that's it. They don't know the difference between Tootsie and Boys Don't Cry. They can't tell they can't tell the difference between those two characters.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So any closing thoughts before we move on? We can send Landendorf the link and
Yeah, I was just looking for him on Twitter. So see if I could send him the link.
Well,
my
no,
only other,
give us some closing thoughts. Let's put a
my
nice
only
bow on
other
this.
thing I guess I'd say is I wish Bowser's character was fleshed out more. I liked. There's one little thing I really liked where after he has the meme song that everyone's memeing on, the Peaches song. But the thing I liked more than that was when Kamek comes in to tell him the news. He's like, "Come sit play piano with me while you tell me whatever's happening." Like, I don't know. I just kind of like, on one hand, I know people were complaining about it. They're like, why is Bowser singing? Why is he playing piano? This is so different for his character. I don't know. I kind of like, it's like a unique, weird quality to give this villainous character that he's never really had before. At least from the games that I've played. Like, oh, Bowser enjoys fucking playing the piano. And like all of his servants just have to kind of like put up with this and deal with it. Like, I just kind of like weird little touches to characters like that.
Yeah, I wish they would have done more with Mario in that sense, because Mario's like, he's the guy that they want to launch a franchise with, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So if Mario played the saxophone or some interesting...
I mean, maybe not something to that effect.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe,
right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Bowser was a great character. Yeah. You just want your flagship character to be that great character. So
well, I think where the road is really going to meet the rubber here. The rubber's going to meet the road here. Is I think you can get away with the first Mario movie kind of being shallow series of action sequences. I don't know if the second one can get away with that. I think the second one is going to have to actually be like a more deeper involved story.
Right. Yeah. They just got so much baggage with this movie because of all the real world stuff with the family. So you've kind of locked yourself in to going down this path where always like the deepest relationships are going to be familial relationships with people. I guess if they dive deeper into the Mario Luigi relationship, that could be good. So maybe it's not too bad.
Yes. I mean, yeah, the second post-credit sequence, I don't know if you saw it.
There's another one.
There's two post-credit sequences.
I saw the one where Bowser's playing
piano, yeah.
Right.
There's a second one where, like, at the very end of the credits, in the pipes that go to the real world, there's a Yoshi egg, which unfortunately would make it seem like there's going to be more real world stuff.
Oh no, with
Mario too. So I don't know, but we'll see. They can always change it, right? They can always pull back.
Sure, totally.
Realize the weaker parts of the movie.
All right, cool. It was a great discussion. Hi, you just listened to a clip from the Sitch and Adams show. If you like what you heard, you can listen to our live show right here on this channel on Sunday, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern. And if you want, you can super chat us. We read $20 and up super chats on the show and then do a follow-up stream on the following Tuesday where we read the rest of the unread super chats and interact with fans of the show. Subscribe to this channel right here to listen to the live show or to listen to more of our awesome clips.